Brace yourself. They are coming for everything that you've got. Welcome to the stream this evening, ladies and gents. And you're not going to like this because it is official. We know it's official now. They passed all of this new stuff during the period, yet again, when there was loads of chaos happening. So I realized I had to make this video today after this article came out from the Telegraph here. And it was such a huge article, and people said, this isn't true. They're not going to be stealing all of my pension and all of these other things, and inheritance tax on my home and all this. I was shocked at the amount of people that weren't aware of all of these new tax laws that have been passed very, very quietly, because you got to remember, they've got this £50 billion black hole. Rachel Reeves, absolutely incredible woman. She took a 20 billion black hole and more than doubled it. I mean, you've got to give her credit where it's due. I mean, I can't even believe that's physically possible, but she managed it. So from your pension, your savings, the roof over your head, even your children's inheritance tax, now, their inheritance now is all going to be taxed. Nothing is safe anymore. These tax rates are basically coming for everything. They really are. The playbook has been thrown out the window now. They want everything. So what I want to do in this video is talk about this and what they're doing, but also give you some pointers, because it was quite obvious to me over the last week of speaking to clients. They were saying, what do I do, Neil? I have no idea what to do. So we actually help them with some structures. Again, I can't help everybody with this, but we help them with some structures and show them certain ways that they can do certain things so they don't get hit so hard with all these taxes. So I'll share some of those things with you as well. So then, let's give context, and then we'll go into a little bit of guidance. We can't give financial advice on the internet here, but we can give some guidance tips for you to look into further, wink, wink, with your advisor, which is probably ChatGPT for most people these days. So what's happening then? They've got to fill this £50 billion black hole. Reeves said that she was grateful for the challenge. She can't wait to get into this. She really wants to get into this challenge. So what are they doing? They're doing the spending cuts and savings. What's hilarious to me is that the savings cuts with all of this stuff is only 5.5 billion. It doesn't even scratch the surface. And you look what they've done. They scrapped the winter fuel payments for pensioners. They cancelled all these infrastructure projects, which would have boosted the economy. All these infrastructure projects and all the AI projects, all of this would have boosted the economy. And they keep saying that these reforms, we're going to reform. I don't know why they keep using that word reform. They're probably doing their competitors a big favor here. So £40 billion is what they've announced in tax hikes. And you might say, how on earth are they going to get this? These are the biggest tax hikes since 1993. How on earth could they possibly get £40 billion worth? Well, it already began with the higher national insurance contributions. What has that led to? Massive job losses, loads of layoffs, huge unemployment in youth, a freeze on hiring. We have had businesses just collapsing. They can't operate anymore with these rates. They announced a 20% VAT rate on private schools. So now the parents sending their kids to private schools, this has now closed a lot of schools. So they've lost all of that revenue in the first place. So it's kind of backwards thinking. And again, why would you tax education? It doesn't really make sense. But the other big one is this windfall tax on the energy companies. This is really going to backfire on them big time, because they're just saying it's not financially viable to take out the energy from the North Sea and some of the other regions. So they are just clueless. They don't understand that all these heavy taxes is resulting in a bigger deficit. It's amazing. That's why everyone says Rachel from accounts, because in fact I wouldn't even call her Rachel from accounts, because even an accountant would know the basics here. So more importantly, the thing that I find fascinating is all these people voted this government in based on their pledges, and they've U-turned on all of them. One of them, they said, we won't raise taxes on working people. Well, they've just done it. They've just raised taxes on working people. You think, just to put this into context, let's say that you are on the 40% tax band, which isn't difficult in the UK. That means 40% of your income is taxed. You also have your national insurance. So already you're plus 50%, right? Now what they want to do is they want to tax your pension, your savings, your home. It's 40% once you get past the threshold. 40% inheritance tax just on those things. That's just the inheritance tax. That's 90% in effect of you're basically working for 10% of your money under those circumstances. I don't know if you've ever thought of it in this context. And now the deputy PM, this is Angela Rayner, she's saying that she wants to raise more taxes from income tax. Yeah, this is your 40% band, right? So the idea is quite sneaky, and it's too long to explain all this, but I gave a lesson on it a while back for those of you who watched that video. But what they want to do is they want to take advantage of inflation, but also they want to take advantage of the other impact of that, which is the wages slowly matching it. So what she suggested in this leaked memo is that they're going to freeze all these thresholds so that it will push more people into the 40% tax band. And they're going to do this over however many years. So what would typically happen is they'd raise the bands over time so that always the same sort of people would be there. No, they want people that earn less money now to pay as if they are high earners. So there's that. Now let me just give a positive here, because I don't want it all to be negative. She's saying that they want to grow the economy, but this doesn't really make sense, some of the stuff. Some of it's okay, like nuclear Sizewell C, yeah, that will help. That will help with the economy, it will help with energy. But the NHS, I did read the report on it. I'm not exactly sure how the healthcare system is going to make the economy stronger. Now, they loosely link it to being more efficient. They say if people are more efficient at work, this will relate to, via the better healthcare, this will relate to them being more efficient and make more money for the employer. Yes and no. I mean, it's very loose link if you read any of the reports on it. I've read the reports from all different countries. It's very loose. It's not a certainty, should we say that. Housing. This will shock you, okay? 39 billion over 10 years. I honestly think if people actually read these things in detail, there would be a revolution in the streets the next day or there and then. So if people actually read or bothered to read who this housing is for, I think people would be in uproar. They would be just furious when they see who this 39 billion of housing is for. Transport, 15.6 billion. Again, how is this going to grow the economy? They don't really say. One idea I would say right away, invest in AI, invest in data centers, invest into energy, because when you've got the energy, it drives entrepreneurship. Right, but if you've got no energy, and you are quite kind of entrepreneurial, and you know that energy is the most expensive in the world, the UK, are you really going to start doing certain projects and building businesses where you know you're going to get absolutely destroyed on energy costs? I'm not convinced by it. And then the big one, this is where they want to mobilize your savings and pension. That video I did caused uproar. I don't think I've ever received so many messages and comments and even emails and things like that, where they've rebranded this. So let me just explain it. This was called the UK Infrastructure Bank, and what they've called it now is the UK National Wealth Fund. And this is 5.8 billion. It was supposed to be 7.3 billion, but some of the money was blocked, which is good. Your banks, which usually I would say are draconian, and I don't like the banks, they actually did you a big favor here because they blocked the government from taking over an additional, what would that be? That would be £1.5 billion. But yeah, they have got access to 5.8 billion of your pensions, of your savings. No, this is not me just saying this. Look this up, because I know there'll be people sat there on the sofa right now looking at their husband or wife. Is that true? Nah, he's making it up. This guy, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Someone's saying right now, is this true? It is true. Look this up. It's called the National Wealth Fund. They rebranded it. And they are actually going to be borrowing, or they call it, what do they call it? They call it, it's something like wider equity. It's the whole, we're all in it together. This is wider equity, unused pensions, they call it. Well, duh, that's what a pension is. It's supposed to be unused until you need it. So they're going to be reallocating all of this. So I want to tell you some sort of guidance around this and what you can do. But this was a big one that came out today. This was the Telegraph. Reed's inheritance tax rate is to, I've changed the wording here, I've changed their title because I'm good at titles, to steal £82,000 from the average homeowner. So this is from April 27. The way they're going to be doing it is very sneaky. It's via your house and your pension. They're basically, just say goodbye to it. This is the strategy. Look here. They're just going to be absolutely rinsing it. So, okay, let me get on to some guidance then here, because you probably want to know, Neil, what do I need to do here? So firstly, your pension pots are going to be taxed. That we covered there. Your homes will be taxed as well. Let me get to the guidance here of what I wrote down. Okay, so there's a few things then. Number one is in terms of planning actions. You can use allowances and reliefs, right? But they've really tightened the net on this. They've tightened the screws, as it were. So it's a lot more difficult now, but there are ways you can use some allowances. Spousal transfers is one. So these are assets left to a spouse or a civil partner. They're exempt from IHT in some regard. You've got to check this out. Residence nil rate band, which is the RNRB. So this is up to £175,000 allowance per person when leaving a main residence to direct descendants. So that's on top of the 325 nil rate band. So you can get up to $500,000 that way, or $1 million per couple. So that's the key thing. If you're a couple, this is going to be a lot easier for you than if you are single. It's going to be annihilating. Now, we talked about this before, but there's something called annual gifts. So you can give up to £3,000 per year to relatives, children, etc. You can actually do this. I've been talking about this for years, and I know people have been doing this every year. However, now there's this 7-year rule. So if you survive 7 years after the IHT, then they can actually claw this back. So there's a lot going on here. But the big one I want to tell you about, and I was actually just making some videos on this, and that is, actually, I'll just show you this a second. Let's go to the shared screen. I was just making, this is the gold and silver advanced course that I made for you. 1 second. Just got to get to the right part. And people always say these courses are huge, Neil. I know they are. They're absolutely leave no stone unturned. Here we go. So this is all around trust. So this talks about all the different types of trust. It's in chapter 7, because I know that a lot of you have taken this course now as it's on pre-release. We've still got a few modules to record, but if you go through chapter 7 and read all the trust stuff and you watch all the videos, that will explain a lot. And then there is the pension as well. So this is I only interview the best experts in the world. So this is all around pensions. This is a gold pension. So there's lots of this is where we haven't got to yet, 13 through 24. We still got a lot to go in the program. So let me give you a couple of points on that. And you can actually, the link is below in the description if you want to look at that. It's called the Gold and Silver Advanced Program. There's a foundation and an advanced, but they are, I just warn you in advance, they are huge programs, and you have to just take it in bite-sized chunks. You can't just do it all in one go, because you're talking a huge amount of time. But it will protect all of your money, your savings, your assets, your pensions, everything. So here's a key point there. Number 2 on this is trust and family wealth planning. A lot of people think that doing trust is this huge thing, and it's so complex legally that it's impossible to do. Actually, it's a lot easier than you would think. There's a huge amounts of different types of trusts. And this is what you want to start thinking about, the different types of trust. Start reading into it, watch my videos on it, and it breaks it all down. It tells you in detail every type of trust that you can look into, because then you can start to secure parts of your, whether it's your home, whether it's your pension, whether it's other things. You can start looking at trusts to do certain things. Again, you've got to look at this. Again, I'm just giving you this loosely here. I'm just giving you a bit of guidance, but I'm not giving you financial advice around any of this. You've got to look at this properly, because they can protect all of your estates. You can start looking to move assets over into a trust. You can do family investment companies, FICs. That's another way you can do it. You can also look at pension withdrawals versus deferral as well, because what shocks me is that you've already paid huge amounts of tax on all of the stuff that you've actually got. And just think, even on the house, 40%. Well, you've already paid your 40% tax plus national insurance. Plus, when you bought the house, you paid stamp duty, you paid a tax when you bought the house. And now it's going to be 40% on inheritance. It's insane what they're doing. We need these people out of government. So pensions are usually outside of inheritance tax, but coming soon they won't be. So you've got a couple of options. Option A, start drawing down some pension savings now and gifting or investing them in smart ways. Option B is moving funds into vehicles that may still be outside the estate. Wink, wink. Trusts, certain life assurance wrappers, etc. Obviously, I'm doing this very broadly and very on the surface here, but I do go into massive detail in some of my other videos and stuff. You can also structure your property slightly different. You can look at joint ownership as well. There's downsizing. You could downsize now, and that way you won't be hit later on. I think I've got a few clients that are doing that right now. They're saying, do I really want to be hit with this massive tax? Maybe I'll downsize now, and I'll start putting some of that into a trust vehicle. I'll start doing it for my kids. I'll start looking at gold and silver, which is something I highly recommend. You start looking at certain things now, and you've got to do it in a way that, if you are going to do gold and silver, you've got to do it in a way that isn't subject to the inheritance taxes. I think these are the main points then. So use allowances to summarize. Trusts or family investment structures, review your pension strategies now, and consider business relief eligible investments as well. Those, I would say, are your main points that I would start thinking about. And definitely check out the course below that I mentioned, the gold and silver course. There's two, foundations, advanced. You can get them separately. They are on sale because I'm doing the pre-recording. So the advanced course is still being pre-recorded. There's a few modules that I've got to edit still. So that's why you're getting such a big discount. The discount is huge right now. Highly recommend it. Thanks for being a subscriber here. Thanks for sharing these videos as well. Really appreciate you. Take care. God bless you. God bless your family. And always happy to serve. I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.